So performance anxiety, you know, the big thing is, I think the main thing that helps, there's two ways to approach it, right? It's you need to figure out what it means for you personally, what it means to be in the zone. Everyone talks about breathing exercises. The reason breathing is something simplified is because in the end, you can't think your way out of stress. If I tell you, don't stress, it's like, yeah, you know you shouldn't stress, but you are doing it actively, and trying not to do it is going to, of course, affect you negatively. So the main thing is, the reason people talk about breathing is because your physiology sends signals to everything else in your body. People hyperventilate when they're stressed. There's certain body reactions. You get the cotton mouth. You know, you get certain reactions in your body. Your heart rate increases. Telling people to not stress when they're stressed is the worst thing that you can do. The breathing exercise basically makes you take control of your physiology again. And you can slow down your heart rate and actually create a rhythm. The word I'm looking for is what is the word that I'm looking for? Not cohesion. Looking for a specific word. Let's say harmony. You're trying to create harmony in your body, because that's the easiest way for yourself to bring yourself back. But the main thing about breathing is that it only gets you centered. Where you perform the best can be very, very different depending on you. Maybe you perform better when you are mellowed out and you chill. Maybe you perform better when you're excited. Maybe you perform better when you're angry. That's very, very individual, because all breathing does is gets you centered and balanced. The second part, which is probably more important, because I do think that confidence, the purest form of confidence, comes from practice. You need to practice with intensity. You need to practice with pressure, because when you do, you are more used to the pressure that comes. If you're aware all the time of what's coming and you are dealing with that stress and anxiety real time every single day, it becomes very, very different when you're ready on stage. The intensity of your practice needs to match what you want to achieve. So if you have a big performance, a speech that you need to hold, you need to perform on a certain day, you need to do something grand on a certain day, you need to keep this on your sleeve every damn day and practice as if you are actually preparing for it. And the more honest you are with yourself about what you do on the day-to-day, the best way possible to deal with performance anxiety is to walk in on that day knowing that you did everything that you could. And the best way to prepare yourself for that type of pressure is to put that pressure on yourself on a daily basis. Because I think that disconnect, waking up on that day, feeling like, oh, this day is so special, creating that buildup in your mind, that is what causes the disconnect. You really, 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 really need to elevate the intensity of your practice and already put pressure on yourself on an extreme level. If you want an example, you know whiplash, right? The performance is the last of his worries at that point, because the practice is so damn intense. Does it help with learning strategies for dealing with stress and anxiety in real life? Well, dealing with stress and anxiety in real life, this is also something very personal. But the main thing that I have learned, which I think is helpful for people, right? That is very, very helpful for people, has been very helpful to me, is that understand that something that you're feeling now is temporary. If you're feeling bad, feeling stressed, feeling anxious, it's not the best point in time to make decisions or reach conclusions about yourself. You're in a weakened state. You know? You're in a weakened state. And that's okay, right? Accept that that's something that occurs to anybody. Accept that you've been there in the past and that it passed. Accept that, oh, I'm going through this right now, and I'm going to give myself some time and grace. Because if you're talking to somebody that is stressed and anxious, how do you treat them? You give them patience. You reassure them. The advice that I'm giving you now in terms of dealing with stress and anxiety is the same advice that you would give to somebody else. The skill set now is to be able to apply it to yourself as you go through it. And the only way to really build experience and have useful experience is taking a look at your life at certain moments where you're very, very stressed. You were going through a hard time. You're going through...
Rainbow Teddy donated $5.77. Damn, coach, I did not expect this to be a life-changing response.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the $5. So the final point is make your experience, solidify it by actually applying it real time. Anyone that is watching right now that is going through stress and anxiety, there were certain points in life where you did too. And the issues that made you feel that way are so small now. You don't even remember them. If you feel stress and anxiety now, I promise you that it will pass. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to go through it. It's just important to understand that this is not the best time for you to take big decisions or paint an image of yourself, of who you are. You just happen to be having an off day, maybe an off week, sometimes even an off month. And the only way for you to solidify experience is that catalog the things that you've been through. They only make you stronger if they serve as reminders for what you're capable of. Sincerely. My brother, like I had a episode of anxiety that was crippling anxiety. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I thought my whole world would fall apart and I've wasted all my time. And every single thing that could go wrong will go wrong. I'm describing textbook crippling anxiety. I went through that. What my brother told me is there was something that happened to us. We had a health scare with our mother, right? A health scare. And suddenly every fucking problem, every fucking problem that he thought that he was worried about was fucking nothing. Nothing. All these issues that concerned us, stressed us, whatever, it just turned into nothing. Just being able to zoom out and keeping that perspective that there's a lot of problems, things that can happen that are not that bad, they just seem like the worst thing possible at that moment in time because of your proximity and your state of mind, And the best advice you can have if you're in that zone is that you take everything step by step. Make things smaller. Don't overwhelm yourself by making, your goals really, really large. The reward of doing something good, no matter how small, is very powerful. Very, very powerful. So, let's say you want to go to the gym. You can't convince yourself to go to the gym. Simplify it. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get large, I'm going to get big, I'm going to get massive, make it smaller. Say, I'm going to go outside, get on my bike. If I get to the gym and I don't want a gym, that's okay. Make the goal and the process to it, make it smaller. It needs to be psychologically rewarding, not daunting. You need to hijack your system a little bit. Because you are competing with, especially now, your brain is competing with so many things that can give you cheap dopamine. Whether it's YouTube, TikTok, snacks, Coke, Like, I fall into those traps too. Everybody does. Making the thing you want to do smaller goes such a long way. Because I assure you, in your mind, you're telling yourself, I'm going to get to the gym, and if I don't want to exercise, I can go home. That doesn't sound so awful. Takes you 10, 15 minutes. I tell you, every time you reach the gym, you're going to exercise anyway. But you've made it smaller for yourself, so psychologically it feels, oh, I'm doing something easy and achieving my goal in the process. This is something that is a really, really OP cheat code. Very OP cheat code. It's the same. You know how the methodology is. If you have a hard time studying, doing your work, do 5 minutes. It's the same way. People say, do 5 minutes. Tell yourself, I'm going to sit down and write for 5 minutes. What happens is that 5 minutes feels good and you forget yourself and you want to do more. Because psychologically, the task of you writing your whole fucking Hausarbeit or whatever you're doing, that is what is exhausting and tiring.